All right, here's us. We're just loading some of these up. Something weird happened as I was loading one of these. This die I pulled out, backed off to whatever it is, to where I knew that it would be over the length of the bullet, and then sure enough, it came out exactly at 3.475 or 3.4755, which is exactly the length this is supposed to be. So an accidental awesome thing happened, and then I went to try it again, and I had to go under and over a couple of times while resetting it so I can get this lock ring in. One of the tricks I like to do is pull the stem way up and then go down about to where the length is set with the actual depth. And then what I like to do is do a precision turning for length with the stem. So that's the important part with this. One of the things also with these super match bullets, because this is Lapua, I don't mind just going ahead and setting these to the max overall length instead of the cartridge base to ogive length. A lot of guys refuse to do something that silly, but I'm okay doing it with Lapua bullets, and with especially a case that it's trim length and everything. I'm not really that worried about it. And besides, this gun shoots 0.375 inches at 100 yards. I cannot get groups on purpose below a 1/4 inch. Never done it. And the only times I've ever done that was a 3-shot group with a magic load for a hunting rifle. So with any of my precision rifles at 5-shot groups, I have never, ever managed to get under that magic 0.35 MOA. So, where guys are doing stuff like annealing and neck turning and buying super expensive Peterson and Lapua brass and all that, it's not a huge deal for me. So, I mean, I just don't know how you're going to get a whole lot better than that, at least for a guy like me who's shooting home-built Savage. So, here's what I'm using. IMR 7977, and because my camera might be backwards, it seems to be reading backwards. That's a unicorn powder for a lot of guys. I can't hardly find any anymore, but I do have 4 or 5 pounds of it, so I have to be very, very careful what I use because this stuff is hard to find. The last couple of pounds I got for it were when powder was still $35 a pound for it. Right now, if you want some of this, you got to go on Gunbroker or something and spend $65 or $75 a pound. If anybody has a line on some, I would love to know. I definitely would like to get myself an 8-pound jug. This stuff is supposed to be H1000 or similar to. The reason H1000 is important is because H1000 is the recommended powder for the Mk248 Mod 0 and Mod 1. I can't get my hands on any H1000, largely because, at least this is what I heard, that the military had bought it all up because they were working on their own stuff for their sniper rounds and things. So, well, I have an extra. So, that's kind of one of the problems that you're going to end up with when you have a round that the military wants to use, is because they have a need for it, and they are going to order so much that these ammo manufacturers just cannot say no to an order for 75,000 pounds of powder or something like that. So anyway, there's that. I keep all my Lapua bullets in here. Now, what was amazing when I got these is these 220 grain 308 rounds, or 308 size rounds, are very, very expensive. And the guy that I bought that from was actually using them to load up 300 Blackout. Bless his heart. I don't know why someone would buy Lapua bullets to load 300 Blackout, but that's amazing for that. Also, something I worked on today, that 0.22 MOA group with my Seiko that I had last time. I made up 20 of those, so when I do some deer hunting, I'm going to go ahead and grab for these. and go from there. But today's New Year's Day, and I'm just enjoying myself. It's a beautiful day out in Texas. Not a whole lot of anything going on, but we're just kind of kicking it. Nice slow day. So hope everyone's doing well. This has been some work on my Mk248 Mod 1. I've got 50 rounds again, so we may just go and work at the range and take this sucker out here. Here's our Savage. I'd like to call it the big Magnum because it's the enhanced Magnum, but this is a little bit of a workup on the 300 Win Mag match and the Mk248 Mod 1. Have a good one, everybody. Bye. All right, so back to our work with the Mk248. So what I've got here is I've loaded up 21. I'm going to just finish up this box. I don't like having more than 50 or 60 loaded. I could load a lot more, but I don't really see a whole lot of purpose to it. So one of the things, though, I'm going to do next is seat these bullets. So I've got my turret here. I've got my turret press. Since I just changed to a new press base, I'm going to go ahead and pull all of the height adjustments out and basically reset. And that's something I actually do every time. I make sure that that I am never just sticking the turret on and just starting to load up. I do re-verify every time. So, but one of the things that I really wanted to show you that's so important to the Mk248 Mod 1 is the difference in the bullets here. Now this is one of your more common precision-ish bullets for the 30 caliber, for the 308 caliber. So this is a 168 grain bowtail hollow point, and this particular one's made by Hornady. Really other popular one is made by Sierra. And so this is that. So what I'm using for these is a very special bullet. In the Mk248 Mod 1, they would use a Sierra Match King 220 grain open tip match. I had a hard time finding those, so I've been using these. Just go ahead and let them set up here so you can see them next to each other. So that's the 220 grain Lapua Sinar L. The nice thing about the Lapua Sinar L is that you can see that super long length creates a lot of ability and a lot of surface area to push air off of it from side to side. That's what's called sectional density. I know that my interpretation of how sectional density works is probably not the best, but the longer the bullet is, the better it is able to resist windage. This 168 grain would be affected by wind after 500 or 600 yards, probably substantially. This 220 grain going about the same speed would take another couple, maybe a few hundred yards to be affected in the same way by windage. So as a result, this round can be much more accurate at a distance. It will go slower, and slower is not always a bad thing. A lot of people seem to think that they want the highest velocity possible. But when you actually look up the numbers for velocity, you find that the amount of energy that a heavy bullet can carry past a certain distance is very, very economical for its weight. And sometimes it going at a lower speed does not necessarily make it less effective at terminal velocity or at the end velocity. So this 220 grain would probably deliver some pretty substantial performance. I don't have the exact data in front of me. I haven't printed a range card on this rifle since I changed the scope on it. But one of the things that's powerful is that it carries probably 1,000 foot-pounds of energy to almost 1,000 yards. Give or take 100 yards for that, okay? So, but that's outrageously powerful. And it carries that 1,500 foot-pounds of energy that could be used to take big game out to 800-900 yards. So that's pretty substantial. And it stays supersonic almost to a mile. So that is just something that it's pretty amazing. Once again, though, the ability to shoot this out to 1,500 yards was the military's goal. And they found that there was 30 or 40 feet less windage at the same distance than the 190 grain. So imagine compared to the 168 grain, that much windage would be important because you'd have to be dialing in that much windage where you can possibly hold over that much windage with a longer bullet. So it's just something that is very efficient and it works really well. And if you have the right kind of rifle, this Mk248 is excellent. If you don't, I recommend looking into that 300 PRC. It actually takes this performance up a notch by using the 230 up to 250 grain. So that's heavy duty stuff. It's the same thing that people are doing with the 6.5 PRC, where you can use 150 to 160 grain bullets to do the same thing that the 6.5 Creedmoor does, but further out. As the 6.5 Creedmoor really kind of dies out at around 1,000. What ultimately the 6.5 PRC does, take that another 350, maybe 400 yards out to maybe 1,300 or 1,400 yards. So it's one of those things where these precision rifle design cartridges are designed to use these extremely long, heavy bullets. Also look into the 224 Valkyrie. It's the same situation with that. You also see another popular one is this new 6.8 Western that everyone's talking about. Everyone meaning the people in the gun industry trying to sell it to you. The idea is that somebody took a Winchester short mag, shortened up the amount of twist in it so that it twists a little bit faster, and then stuck a super long heavyweight bullet in it. I am a fan of using the heaviest bullet possible for your twist rate. My twist rate in my 308 is 1 in 12. Probably the 168 2075 is where I'm going to top out. But if you have a 308 with a 10 twist, you could look into the 180, 190 grain bullets. Supposing that you could get the speed up to that high, to that level that you want to get them at, I'm all for it, for just being stable in your precision rifle stuff. It's not going to be the best for hunting. No one would honestly say that, but it's one of those things where we're not hunting with these, we're hitting plates or tactical targets. So, really on a tactical target, that 500 foot-pounds is really about what you want. That's about the same effect of the 357 Magnum. So this will hit 500 foot-pounds past a mile. So that means that if you could engage a two-legged predator past a mile with one of these, it would probably be very effective. So that's some more information on that. I'm going to go ahead and load these up, and then I'll show you some more stuff after that, okay? All right, here's some data, like I promised. This is a little tiny range card I found for it. 1,500 yards. Look at the very bottom. We are still at 1,248 feet per second above Mach 1. 760 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. So in the 800-yard range, we are still over 1,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Look over to the 1,250 down there, and that's where we breach the 1,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. So if you can hit it out to 1,250 yards, you can kill it. In reference to any kind of game, pretty much. If you want to shoot big game out to 800, 900, 1,000, you can definitely do it with these 220s. Supposing they'll carry this much energy, I wouldn't really shoot an open tip match at a game, but this is basically off of a range card that I had attached to one of these little rubberized wire bread tie type of things. These are just so handy. This is a range card. I keep some of the basic information on here. I'm doing 2850 feet per second out of this rifle, and then some of the basic information of how I had calculated the range card data. Okay, so thanks a lot, everybody.